Hi friends, welcome to the NPTEL course Strategy and Technology, a practical primer. We are in week 6 with the theme of structural analysis and competitive strategy. In this lecture, the 28th in the series, we discuss the topic of quality, cost and value. Quality and cost are the two key drivers of a product's acceptance in the customer's hands. It is also very important for India Inc. to achieve higher level of globalization. Many times these are seen as independent of each other, but these cannot be seen as independent of each other. In this lecture, we will consider the interrelationships between these two factors and how they can be managed with the superiority and in a balanced way. Let us understand that cost leadership is not low-cost production. It also includes leadership in quality and safety for given functionalities. The belief that a firm should continuously work on a best-in-class quality cost position is the fundamental tenet that differentiates an industry leader from the rest. And obviously, every firm would like to be an industry leader. Total cost management, TCM, and total quality management, TQM, are two independent, though quite interrelated streams of a firm that are integrated by technology. Cost and quality integration requires a managerial mindset that utilizes technology and human resources in perfect harmony. Quality integrated and quality supportive cost management. Similarly, cost integrated and cost supportive quality management is an essential tool for competitiveness of firms. Cost is the ultimate indicator of a firm's competitiveness. There is therefore importance to cost leadership as a generic competitive strategy. However, in this quest, quality should not be lost sight of. Cost conserves resources. If you are a low-cost producer, but with high quality, you are going to conserve resources and benefit the consumer. It ties in well with the industrial economics approach in terms of scale, scope, share increases, economies of integration, and so on. However, global experiences highlight the pitfalls of pursuing cost leadership without a comprehensive appreciation of the cost paradigm. Cost leadership is certainly not the same as low-cost production without consideration for other features. Porter's work does not fully discuss the semantics and optics of cost leadership vis-à-vis quality leadership, and this lecture aims to bridge this gap. We also have to realize that cost leadership is not related to arbitrary elimination of processes and qualifications. There have been companies which try to do lots of cost-cutting initiatives in difficult times, but lost the quality in the bargain. It is not even engineering or re-engineering a product on a fit-for-purpose machine. Cost leadership must emerge from productivity and efficiency all along the value chain. However, it must presuppose maintenance of quality. Cost leadership has much to do with frugal engineering and lean operations, for which India is famous for. However, it cannot be allowed to lead to loss of sight on leadership of quality and safety for given functionalities. We will discuss cost and quality from a total enterprise perspective in this lecture, and in doing so, we will also understand and appreciate a significantly upgraded concept of quality integrated cost leadership, which is relevant for appropriate competitive strategy. Let us look at the myth and reality of cost and quality. There are many myths related to cost management and quality management as two independent but not connected and even opposing drivers of competitiveness. As I said in the discussion on the previous slide, cost management and quality management are independent streams, but that is only superficially. Internally, they are connected together with technology and customer service as the motto. The reality, therefore, is that cost should never be seen as independent of quality. Expansion in domestic markets as well as in export markets is dependent on both cost and quality. In all ways, cost and quality are significantly interrelated. Let us look at the myths surrounding the cost-quality equation. The most prominent one is that they are adversely correlated. In other words, it is assumed that higher quality leads to higher cost, and somewhat conversely, lower cost leads to lower quality. This is obviously wrong, because if you have high quality, you will have zero defects, which means you save materials, you utilize every bit of time available for appropriate quality certified production. Just an example. While higher levels of quality do require higher levels of product specification, material strength, manufacturing integrity, and service delivery, the relationship between cost and quality is neither linear nor proportionate. In fact, as quality increases, the cost curve decreases. There is what's called a cost of bad quality, and the cost of bad quality will have several adverse implications for a company, including recalls of the products, including loss of brand equity, loss of corporate reputation. These cannot be replaced. On the other hand, a higher quality reputation or standing ensures brand recall, brand loyalty, and purchase of the same product and its next generations of products, all by customers. A higher quality product or service creates and expands demand, enables higher scale of production and distribution, improves overhead absorption, and ultimately results in a superior cost position for the firm. Offshoring to India and Make in India are dependent on both cost and quality. Therefore, we should look at cost integrated quality management and quality integrated cost management as two essential tools for competitiveness in a global setting. The ability to successfully operate on low margins while on high quality is the litmus test of a firm's competitiveness. Cost leadership has to come along with quality leadership. Often, firms, especially those operating in the innovation and niche space, believe that cost is secondary and differentiation is primary. Some firms may also believe that the pursuit of cost leadership and product differentiation are contrary to each other. That is, you cannot be a low-cost producer and a highly differentiated product deliverer. However, there is no conflict in the pursuit of these twin goals. Toyota is an exemplary company that specializes in both high-quality management and low-cost management. A primary strategy for all corporations that have achieved sustainable profit growth comprises the following. 1. Elimination and avoidance of all non-value adding and wasteful activities. If movement from one place to another of a material is unnecessary, then that must be eliminated. You don't lose quality, on the other hand, you save cost. Unnecessary transportation of materials, unnecessary transportation of cargo, unnecessary movement of people within and outside the premises has to be eliminated. This will save costs. We have to look at various value-adding activities that could be employed. We cannot run a paint shop with 20% utilization. We cannot spray on an item which is getting painted beyond the requirement of the product. So these are several ways in which costs could be saved. Recognition of the cost of bad quality and the value of the good quality is part of this cost quality paradigm. A review of all corporations that have grown over the past several decades underlines this point. From Toyota in Japan to IBM in US, the cost quality paradigm being maintained at the highest order has been the success mantra. There are controllable and non-controllable factors as far as the cost and quality are concerned. But firms take a very simplistic view of costs and competition, mostly from a transactional perspective or as special initiatives, as I said. Managers exhort their employees to control what is under their control, and by implicit indication, they also tell their employees not to worry too much about factors which are not under their control. So managers focus very much on production capacity and the resultant cost. Managers do not worry about demand, competition, and prices. But we have to realize that in all the factors mentioned above, whether they are seeming to be controllable or not controllable, they all fall squarely within the responsibility and control of the firms. Low market demand is often an indicator of unacceptable cost-quality equation of a product or a service. Another player's lower priced, higher quality product is probably taking away the demand for your company's products, and the relationship between cost and price is therefore very evident. We have to ensure that prices, competition, and demand are appreciated by employees for what they are. That is, factors which are influenced, at least indirectly, by the efforts of the employees in terms of operational excellence, engineering excellence, and manufacturing excellence. Competition in an industry through new offerings indicates that the industry is attractive in terms of growth and profitability parameters on one hand, and the industry dictates the need for firms to remain relevant. So when the industry is attractive, when the demand increases, but demand would increase only when the consumers are able to buy more products and have better life and service from their products. The controllable factors can be further analyzed. Quality, cost are influenced by leadership aspirations, technical capabilities of a company, managerial capabilities, resource endowments, process integrity, company culture. Process integrity is very much important. That is, the ability of the facilities and machine tools you have to produce the same product without any digression from the tolerances is process integrity. Similarly, your ability to establish a Wi-Fi connection in the customer's workplace or home is dependent on the way you do the junction boxes, the way you match the Wi-Fi router to whatever is available in terms of the room envelopes. These all reflect process integrity is not only technical, but it is also managerial. And one of the most important factors in influencing cost and quality is the company culture. The belief that a firm should continuously work on a best-in-class quality cost position is the fundamental plank of a progressive culture in an organization. That will only differentiate a firm from another firm which does not subscribe to this kind of high-end philosophy. Probably it is not possible for all the firms to aspire for such an industry-leading position. But there is a threshold below which companies should never go down, because that will undermine the firm's capability. When leadership and management appreciate their own technical capabilities and induct new technical capabilities, add resources, they will be able to ensure that the quality cost position, if not the best in class, will at least be above the average expectations of the customer group. We have to anchor our growth and sustainability strategies on a comprehensive strategy of quality integrated cost management. There are unique clusters of factors which support each of these things, and their interrelationship is something which the firm must look at. So what are the cost drivers? Design, manufacture, and delivery. If a product which has to carry 10 tons of gross weight is designed with an engine which can carry 20 tons of gross weight, it is an over-engineering. Similarly, if the frame of a vehicle is designed to carry 20 tons load as opposed to 10 tons with some kind of appropriate overage, then it is over-engineering. And we are building high cost through this design. Similarly, to establish a manufacturing facility, we have very liberal corridors in a pharmaceutical industry. It is cost built into the system because pharmaceutical industry requires 100% HVAC, that is heating, ventilation and air conditioning systems. The larger and the higher the corridors are, the greater is the energy consumption on the HVAC system. So your building design is inefficiency in the facilities. Therefore, manufacturing of facilities directly contribute to higher cost of operation. Delivery. The way you deliver your products, the way you manage your demand, the way you manage your inventory to match the demand, and the way you store the components, the way you package the products, all add to the cost position of a product. You would have seen over a period of time that the boxes which supply the cellular phones have reduced by at least 50%. mainly because unnecessary accessories have been avoided and the whole paradigm of connectivity been simplified through use of appropriate USB cables. There is so much of design that is involved in ensuring that manufacture and marketing are of low cost. The other factors are scale, scope, effectiveness, and efficiency. The higher is your scale of production, the lower will be fixed costs per product. The wider is your product range, the higher is your ability to absorb the managerial as well as the operational costs. But we have to combine cost management with the concepts of effectiveness and efficiency. Efficiency is nothing but the output input equation. That is, you put in 100 components and you get out 100 products. You are 100% efficient. But you do this equation or you produce these products when the market doesn't want, then you are not being effective. You would have been efficient as a process, but you are not effective as a business. So we have to identify and utilize appropriate levers as identified here across the entire value chain. But this application can go haywire also if the underlying criticality of quality is not recognized. As I said, cost drivers are efficiency, effectiveness, and finally zero waste. Zero waste not merely of a product or a component or a material, it's also zero waste of time. That is, time to market must be extremely important. So output input ratios, scale, scope, viability, and finally net zero approach is critical to ensure that the lowest cost but with highest quality is adopted by a company. Each of these is interrelated and we need to have a very harmonious integration of these three platforms. We also have to execute with high forecast and delivery accuracy. Here, forecast accuracy is a very broad concept. It is not exponential smoothing, it is not trend analysis, but it is a kind of broader aspect, including the forecasting of demand and the availability of resources. You may have demand after COVID recovery, but in case you are not able to bring in the appropriate numbers of people, appropriate talent, raise resources, organize the working capital flow, then the entire demand forecasting exercise would not be successful. So we require a broader forecasting that covers both external factors and internal factors. Total cost management is almost like total business management of a company, because no operation is beyond cost management. The same applies to quality also. No operation is beyond quality management, including the way leaders work. Many times leaders feel that they are outside the ambit of quality management. How many people would be thinking that we need to be perfect in the way we plan a product? They could think that the plans can be revised from time to time. But when it comes to the shop floor, we believe that once a product is set, it must be produced 100% right. So there is a kind of duality in our thinking. That is, what is managerial and what is in the ambit of leadership can be corrected because we are all human. But what is there in the shop floor should not be amenable or should not be taken up for correction. It should be right for the first time. But if you extend this right for the first time concept to management as well as leadership also, then the company would be much more successful. And there lies the quality of thinking, quality of expression, and quality of execution of managers and leaders. Quality is a powerful indicator of the ultimate competitiveness of a firm in an industry, in which all constituent firms can provide products and services of comparable cost. We said cost is the ultimate indicator of the competitiveness of a firm in industry, provided all the other factors, notably quality, is maintained at the same level as required. The related portion of this hypothesis is being covered now, that quality is a very powerful indicator of the ultimate competitiveness of a firm, provided all other factors are of the same capability, including cost level. So what are the levers that are available for quality? Innovation, that is the way in which you bring in your materials, the way in which you formulate your product, the product and service specifications, the process specifications, the safety levels in manufacture, skill level of employees, and compliance systems. These are the levers that a company has to establish a superior position on quality. And encompassing all of this is a zero defect approach, because each of these factors is interrelated. And only when all of these are integrated, so that there is a first time right, not only the quickest time to market approach, then we will be successful. Concurrent engineering is a methodology that has been successfully adopted in several industries, notably in the automobile industry, and even more particularly in the Japanese automobile industry, to ensure that quality is implemented as a seamless process across functions and in an unfailing manner across the total value chain. Compliance to stringent benchmarks is important for ensuring high quality, and the challenge for organizations is in simultaneously conforming as well as innovating to meet such benchmarks. We may have statistical quality control, which allows certain tolerance in specifications, but the lower the bandwidth is of these tolerances, the better would be the quality level. Similarly, we should conduct periodic studies, that is process capability studies of our machines, to ensure that they are operating to the highest levels of process integrity. And when existing old technology machine tools do not provide the necessary quality level, we should upgrade those machine tools, probably introduce more of electronics, program logic controllers, and various other facilities to be able to upgrade them to contemporary standard. We have to keep on looking at ways and means of improving quality. Every company, whenever faced with difficult situation, will talk about cost reduction. No company at the same time talks about quality upgradation. This is a fallacy in the industrial psychology. We need to look at both cost minimization and quality maximization as twin pillars of a revival or competitiveness strategy of a company. The processes for ensuring quality vary based on the nature of the industry the firm is in and the culture of the firm. There are industries that are self-regulated or market-regulated. There are also industries that are regulated by external regulatory standards. Automobile industry is one which is in between the two, in the sense that once the vehicles are homologated and certified, it doesn't require the company to be inspected on a periodic basis. In the industries that are self-regulated or market-regulated, we have integrated product and quality operations. We have extensive error and failure proofing philosophies and processes. We believe in self-certification, and we provide attention to market performance. In such companies which are self-regulated or market-regulated, departments and staffing are geared towards integrated production and quality responsibility. Quality departments tend to be lean and targeted for overall quality assurance and deep analytics. Typically, a quality department could be about 10 to 15% of the total facility employment. On the other hand, where industries are regulated by external regulatory standards, where traceability is required, where high level of documentation for every unit of production is required, where the facility upkeep has to be monitored and certified, the quality personnel and general personnel ratio is completely different. In pharmaceutical industry, for example, you have 1:1 ratio almost of quality and production personnel, which is quite unusual for an industry such as automobile industry or engineering industry. And it happens not only because of the external regulatory factors that I have stated, but the entire process of certifying production takes a completely different cue, because it is something to do with the safety of human beings, that is the welfare of population. And everybody takes a pharmaceutical pill or injection on faith. You cannot see the capability of the pill by looking at it, whereas you can see the capability of a cell phone by looking at it. So the difference is that because medicines are prescribed and consumed based on faith that they will meet the requirements, the quality function has to be extraordinarily strong in such industries. Same applies to semiconductor industry. Semiconductor or the chip is something which cannot be seen, and its capability determines a whole lot of computing, connecting, sensing devices in the world today, and it is a ubiquitous ingredient or inert of every product. And in industry 4.0, it will have an even more encompassing and even more important role. This industry again requires high level of quality control by design, by operation, and by quality conformance. So in pharmaceutical industries, we have 4 levels of quality. One, quality control, that is every day's production is tested against specifications and that batch is certified for release. Then you have quality assurance, which ensures that the systems, process, and execution are as per prescribed standards. It assures that there is quality system, documentation system, and execution system that is quality compliant in the company. Then we have internal audit. Just as we get regulatory auditors, we also need to have internal auditors who ensure that quality control, quality assurance, and by implication the production are to the standards. The companies also have to recognize that the regulatory standards are continuously moving up. So we need to understand regulatory compliance and the standards that are getting upgraded from time to time. So all of these things constitute the essential part of a quality system in a pharmaceutical industry. Total quality management, therefore, is very much industry and culture specific. Quality culture applies uniformly across every industry. However, it is not advisable or even possible to impose the same quality plan across all industries. An automobile firm that is undertaking assembly will be having a clean atmosphere, but a foundry which is providing components cannot be as clean as the assembly line, because the inherent nature of the foundry is to utilize steel, utilize iron, utilize sand, and have coking process, heating process, molding process. All of these things generate fumes, they generate dust, black particles. But quality in a foundry situation is something which is to be pursued, because environmental, safety, and health standards are intricately linked to the kind of quality you will ensure. So a foundry that is as good to look at, as good to experience as an assembly line is the ultimate in terms of environment, safety, and health standards. There cannot be a black rain of black particles in a foundry, for example. If those are eliminated, then that foundry is the greatest in terms of quality compliance. And how does that happen? When you have equipment which are designed to ensure that there is no egress to the outside facility of those things which are getting used within the foundry system or the unit casting system. This is how quality pervades all aspects of thinking, planning, and execution in any industry. Some look facile, easy to execute, and some look very challenging but difficult to execute. But quality is quality, and that is the gold standard for judging a company's greatness. Let's summarize the cost and quality levers that are typically available for a firm to strike the best balance. The cost levers are speed, scope, scale, productivity. Quality levers are compliance, safety, specifications, innovation. And what integrates these two? Leadership and employee skills. People are at the core of delivering the right cost quality balance. The levers are the ones which I have mentioned, the 8 levers. And the company's culture is something that integrates all of these things and makes these levers work in the way we have envisaged. People are core and central to quality integrated cost management. While their cost and quality skills are the levers, the organizational culture is something which has to be developed. That's why in the cultural anchors that we have considered in one of the lectures, quality is one of the predominant cultural anchors that has been used by the top leadership. How cost and quality are integrated. We have talked about leadership process, we have talked about employee skills, we have talked about managerial approaches that could integrate cost and quality as one integrated paradigm. But technology is the real underlying integrator for product and process technology. With the strides that are getting taken in digital and information technologies, technology is going to play an even bigger role in integrating both of these things, because the data and the feedback that arise from a particular operation or a particular delivery is going to throw up several nuggets of information that are useful for reducing costs and increasing quality. Information technology makes the total value chain of the firm efficient and effective. It also helps eliminate waste and ensure compliance to specifications. It could start from monitoring of how each operation is happening. It could be sensors that are deployed in the production floor to ensure that components of wrong weight are not put in. It could be weighing machine systems when the components are coming out to ensure that the components which do not make the right grade are eliminated. The X-ray systems that are available to see the products that are transparent in a pharmaceutical industry in terms of particle contamination. You look at any aspect of any company or any industry, you will find that technological improvements will lead to increased quality levels and therefore reduced cost levels. There are 4 contexts to technology. The first is the technology itself. There is a context for technology. Second is the managerial context. Third is the operational context. And the fourth is the strategic context. And all of these things must be kept in mind by the leadership in ensuring the appropriate kind of operational evolution and industrial evolution for the industries they are in it. Once upon a time, combination of electronics and mechanical apparatus was considered a luxury aspect of automation, which is not very useful. Today, in Maruti Suzuki, you have thousands of robots which are working not only in welding but in several other areas where repeatability is required, where safety is to be ensured, and where accuracy and perfection are desired. So the use of mechatronics, the use of digital technologies, the use of robotics has grown manifold in several industries, and this movement of technology in making processes safer, more efficient, more effective, and most importantly quality compliant is the direction technology is taking on the shop floors and also in the field. This has vastly changed expectations on what constitutes good ergonomics and wise economics. Many times good ergonomics also leads to wise economics because there is no human downtime when the ergonomics of operation are ensured. That's why it is one of the key subjects of industrial engineering with reference to production management or any other way of operating. So an employee's fundamental capabilities continue to determine how a national or global value chain comprising several functions, sites, teams, and technologies can be seamlessly integrated. Further, the cultural aspects of technology as influencer of cost and quality must be appreciated. We also have to look at time as one of the very important aspects. If you do your activities with high quality, if you undertake your operations with the low cost, you have bridged 2/3 of the equation. But if you are able to do it in a manner it is both time effective and delivery effective, then you would be able to bridge this total paradigm in a triad manner. Time is the most precious and non-renewable and non-regenerative resource, as we all can appreciate. It is critically important. The faster you do things, the better it is. But doing faster at the expense of cost, that is more defects, or at the expense of quality, that is poor quality, is not acceptable. So the myths that are surrounding the quality cost execution in time are eliminated. Then the reality of time, cost and quality being supportive of each other will become very evident for us. Many hidden or implicit activities need to be performed, and not performing these could have adverse quality and cost implications. That will include checking of the input materials, sampling of the product while it is getting made, and final 100% checking where it is required. These are all hidden or implicit activities, and all of these things must be listed down and budgeted so that the true time cost quality equation is understood. The only way to speed up curing is to ensure development and deployment of new generation curing technology as far as cement is concerned. We cannot cure cement in an accelerated manner without adopting the appropriate technological support for cement. So we have to ensure that the technology standards are first upgraded before we set for ourselves new targets in time, cost, quality. We have new construction technologies which are ensuring that we do not have wastage of cement, concrete. Everything is done with concrete without the use of different types of inputs. There is a huge advancement in terms of construction efficiency and effectiveness. We also could have certain limitations in parallel processing, particularly when we are doing multitask projects. Components of a new design watch, for example, cannot be ordered until the basic design parameters, both product and manufacturing, are frozen. Getting quality and cost right includes design specification being frozen and being circulated to every function, every department that is involved in all parts of the value chain. Design cannot be kept confidential, and it cannot be therefore hoped that without knowing proper detailed design, the other functions would be able to perform their tasks appropriately. Lack of information is at least one of the contributory reasons for wrong decisions in material and component procurement, which cause repetitive prototyping. Those have to be eliminated. Similarly, technology transfer from R&D to manufacturing requires openness in terms of what the manufacturing unit can do and what the new product envisages. And there again, openness rather than okay, we'll see when it comes to that kind of thinking will determine the time being very efficient and effective. So time is the ultimate arbiter in terms of time, cost, quality management. We have to keep that in view. So how do you generate value from a quality perspective? Cost leadership is very important and quality is very much visible. But when you integrate it with quality leadership, we have the ultimate value. Highest quality, lowest cost, shortest time. This is the triad which will drive value leadership in quality perspective. We have discussed until now several quality levers, several cost levers which must be deployed simultaneously so that the cost quality balance is ensured. The very special attribute of ensuring the highest quality at the lowest cost for the kind of purpose we have envisaged for the product is the one which will differentiate from others who take only cost oriented decisions or only quality oriented decisions. Samsung has been burdened with huge recall costs of billions of dollars on its prestigious Note 7 cell phone because quality parameters relating to a particular component in the cell phone has not been evaluated as much as it should have been evaluated. This again shows the need for a fine balance between cost, quality and time, failing which the firms could face debilitating adversities. It is an integrated, holistic strategic platform. So the way it's going, cost management, quality management and time, cost, quality management we have considered. So I would propose TQCTM as one integrated framework to make sure that a company delivers the highest value to the customers as well as to the stakeholders. Let us look at what happened with Samsung Note 7. Samsung brought out this product as one of the leading products which could completely disrupt the market of cell phones. It was launched in August 2016. It looked completely different in terms of the form factor, the thinness, and the way the fast charging capabilities were talked about. It was seen as a large screen top-end device and was positioned as a rival to Apple's iPhone. However, severe quality problems and inadequate remediation of those problems caused halt of the model. In August 2016, soon after the launch, several Note 7 smartphones were reported to explode. The initial reports by the engineers pointed to the existence of a fault in batteries procured from one of the suppliers. Samsung immediately recalled the phones with faulty batteries and began shipping phones with batteries from another supplier. Again, it was a knee-jerk and quick fix solution. Unfortunately, the new phones also began to explode, and it led Samsung to completely halt Note 7 production until a proper and final resolution was found. So, rapid product development, inadequate testing, and post-commercial failures were principal causes for this debacle. How do we overcome such debacles? Failure mode and effect analysis, that is FMEA, critical risk analysis, and other similar factors. If these are not conducted in the way they should be conducted, speed would derail both development and remediation. And the failure of Samsung's Galaxy Note 7 had enormous financial implications. Revenue loss was exceeding $7 billion, besides loss of reputation. Airlines said that if one had Note 7, the individual cannot travel in the aeroplane. That was the kind of impact it had. Although Samsung overcame the harsh quality setback, it learned a lesson. By ensuring consistent quality in the follow-up models, Samsung could restore customer confidence in the Note. Thereafter, several other Notes came as successive generation products, and Note 20 Ultra 5G, for example, has been one of the highest selling product of Samsung. This also underlines an adage that mistakes are meant to be learning experiences, not for repetition. And Samsung learned from its mistake and ensured that its design and quality process are at the highest level going forward from that time. What went wrong? Let's do analysis. We are talking about strategy and technology. Let's look at some weaving in of technology as part of this lecture. Samsung said that errors both in design and manufacturing affected batteries, both from the first manufacturer as well as from the second manufacturer. Abnormal and normal are depicted here. In the abnormal, the negative electrode was deflected in the upper right corner of the battery, whereas in the normal, the negative electrode was not deflected. According to the findings, the problem centered on insufficient insulation material within the batteries and a design that did not give enough room to safely accommodate the battery's electrodes. So that is the cause and that is the solution. You can study further in the hyperlink which I have given. Cost leadership, which was partly pursued as far as Note 7 was concerned in terms of time to market, was responsible for some of these failures and inadequate recalls and inadequate remediations. High welding burrs on the positive electrode resulted in the penetration of the insulation tape and separator, and this caused direct contact between the positive tab with the negative electrode. This was discovered after more detailed analysis, and this was the main cause, not just the battery by any manufacturer. The main cause was this: negative electrode, separator, insulation tape, positive tab, positive electrode can be seen in these diagrams. You can see the normal configuration and you can see the distorted configuration. In the normal configuration, the positive tab is appropriately attached to the positive electrode, and this required a detailed investigation and not replacement of one battery by other battery, because design has been at the core of the misbehavior of the battery. We can appreciate from this example that the total quality, cost and time management TQCTM paradigm is an integrated and holistic strategic platform of competitive strategy, and that is highly relevant for India Inc., which is seeking an ever-expanding global presence. There are companies which are excelling year after year, decade after decade in this process of TQCT. Quality, specifications, performance and reliability. Cost, fully accounted cost, profitable, price competitive. Time, first to market, right to market, speed with quality. Sustainability, industry leading, share gaining, sustainable business operations. When you look at the companies whose logos I have presented, Apple, Toyota, ABB, IBM, Pfizer, McKinsey company, you will realize as to how this integrated cost, quality and time paradigm is the one which is driving their sustainability and growth on a continuous year basis. All the global leaders listed above reflect this paradigm of TQCTM. Thank you. With this we come to the end of this lecture. Hope to see you in the next lecture.